Of all debates in sports as to who the GOAT of that sport is, there is none as intense and maybe one-sided. It's Michael Jordan versus LeBron James. A debate that has divided the NBA world in two for the last decade. We have the young NBA fans who will stand behind their choice no matter what. And on the other side of the fence are the old heads who think no one, not even their own dads, can convince them as to anyone being better than Michael Jordan. But who really is the GOAT in the game of basketball? Today we dissect the age-old question: who truly reigns supreme at the top of the mountain? Is it Michael Jordan, or is it the king himself, LeBron James? LeBron James, as people know him, King James, or some even call him LeBron too, has dominated the NBA world for over 2 decades. From coming in as the most sought-in-after prospect in the NBA in the year 2003, being chosen as the #1 pick by Cleveland. Fast forward 2 decades later, LeBron has managed to win 4 titles, 4 MVPs, and a host of other awards along the way, while toppling one of the greatest teams ever assembled in NBA history from a 3-1 deficit to win one of those titles.
Knocked his heel, he's just bad. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by
the Golden State Warriors, a team with the highest win record of the season, snatching the title from, you guessed it, our very own Michael Jordan and the Bulls. But I digress. From the onset, LeBron has always had high expectations being placed on him, and with high expectations come high criticism. AV really is the heir that wears the crown. Being criticized heavily when he entered the league, with some saying he will never reach the level of Michael Jordan. He quickly proved the doubters wrong, leading the Cleveland Cavaliers to their first NBA Finals in 2007 and winning the scoring title in 2008. But all these remarkable feats weren't enough to stop the comparison between him and one certain number 23. After an infamous stroke game he had against the Mavericks, the comparisons between him and Michael Jordan intensified. Fast forward more than a decade later, and the comparisons between him and Michael haven't stopped yet. But is the comparison warranted? Well, let's find out. Before we continue, we have to go back in time to discuss the man in question, Michael Jordan. What can we say? 6 championships, 6 finals MVP, 5 regular season MVPs, and 2 three-peats. There have been careers, but there hasn't been one as unblemished as Michael Jordan. Also we thought. To really discuss the myths of Michael Jordan, we have to discuss the failures of his hairness. Well, Michael Jordan's first 6 seasons were quite a roller coaster. Coming to the league in 1984, he won Rookie of the Year the following year, but here comes the roller coaster. He had injured his foot during his second year in the league. Michael was only able to play 18 games in the season, being advised to sit out the season so he could play the next season. But he eventually came back late in the season, leading the Bulls to the playoffs against the eventual champions, the Celtics, scoring 63 points in the Garden, with Bird uttering the famous quote, "I don't think anyone was capable of doing what Michael has done to us," marveled Celtics ace Larry Bird. He is the most exciting, awesome player in the game today. I think he's just God disguised as Michael Jordan. But that's where the magic ends. Michael wasn't able to get over the hump against the Celtics, losing 3-0 to the Celtics in the first round of the playoffs, repeating the same cycle in 1987, losing 3-0 again in the first round to the Celtics in the first round of the playoffs. From one failure to another, Jordan lost to the Pistons in the Eastern Conference semifinals, 4-1 in 1988, then again in 1989. He lost to them in the Eastern Conference Finals, 2-4. Then again, in the Eastern Conference Finals, he lost 3-4 to the Pistons in 1990. So if the two GOATs of the sport, as many believe, have so much failure on the resume, what really makes them qualify to be in a good debate ahead of others? Well, we are going to be looking at this from different perspectives. First, in terms of horror, let's not get it twisted. The greatest of all time in any sports believe they are the greatest, even when the world doesn't. Muhammad Ali was famously quoted for saying, "I am the greatest." Michael Jordan was famous for taunting former players. One famous story was that of Kevin Garnett.
He excited. What else? So now MJ on the back leg joint. You know, when he's
leaning on you.
like,
Is that right?
Okay, yeah, huh? I can't even really describe the next like 6 to 7 minutes of play, yo.
Not to mention, Michael Jordan always had a reputation for being a larger-than-life character by former players and current players alike. Is it his insane dunks, his secret fadeaway moves, the way he talked, moved, even to his infamous cigars he took after games? He was a working heart. A king like Michael Jordan was just as respected. Players dreaded facing LeBron. A city was even renamed in his name, LeBron 2. While Michael Jordan looked to ruthlessly demolish his opponents, LeBron was seen more like the fun-loving, down-to-earth basketball legend. The prime of both players cannot be ignored when settling these debates. Michael Jordan, though suffering losses to the Celtics and the Pistons a total of 5 consecutive years, he did hit his stride from 1990 to year 1998, beating the Lakers in 1991 to win his first championship, then defeating the Trail Blazers in 1992, completing a three-peat in 1993 by defeating the Suns. He however got tired and decided to venture into baseball. The Bulls ended the season in the Eastern Conference semifinals twice, with Jordan coming back in 1996. The Bulls swept through the Eastern Conference, finishing with a record 72-10 win, then going on to defeat the Supersonics in 6 games, then the Jazz twice in 1997 and 98 season. Michael Jordan dominated the NBA for at least a decade, a feat only few can boast of. But not only did he do that, he proved that while he was at his prime, there really was no one better. You could argue Jordan's prime was from 1990 to 98. Though LeBron peaked during 2009-13 season, his prime could be said to last from 2009 to 2018, just before he decided to join the Lakers. The King played absolutely bonkers during this period, winning 3 championships, 3 MVPs, 3 Finals MVP along this period, though having a blemish in the form of a monumental breakdown during the Maverick Finals in 2011. He still managed to play some of his best basketball during this period and had games that were stuff of legend, like the Eastern Conference Game 6 against the Boston Celtics in 2013. Many argue that a lot of teams won under the King's watch, like the Golden State Warriors or the Mavericks, but we gotta be clear, one of them had an unbelievable roster of players, and the other had a behemoth of a player in Dirk Nowitzki, who is probably a top 10 center in the history of the game. Now, this is an interesting aspect of the GOAT debates. While some people consider both players clutch, it comes down to 2 different aspects of clutch. LeBron James trumps Michael Jordan in the realm of statistics, hitting the most buzzer beaters in NBA history with 8, one more than Michael Jordan's 7, who is also tied with Kobe Bryant, also having more go-ahead baskets in the final 5 seconds of a playoff game with 8 compared to Michael Jordan's 5, also leading him with 5 playoff buzzer beaters compared to Michael Jordan's 3 playoff buzzer beaters, also having more percentage in the go-ahead shots of the final 5 seconds of a playoff game with 50% compared to Michael Jordan's 45.7%. Though LeBron played more playoff games than Michael Jordan, Michael's argument was more in the eye test, as Michael Jordan hit more spectacular game-winning shots in his career when the lights was the brightest. Michael Jordan made it look more effortless, like the shots against Craig Elo in the Game 5 of the 1989 playoff series. Both players are amazing clutch players, But given that LeBron James played longer, gives him the edge in statistics. But one cannot ignore the fact that Michael Jordan stepped up when it mattered the most, and well, made it look silky smooth. This probably puts this category in favor of Michael Jordan. Now, this is an interesting aspect of the GOAT debate, as this is where most fans go apart when it comes to the GOAT debates. Some say Michael Jordan never faced real competition, with him facing an old Lakers team to win the championship in 1991, then facing the Portland Trail Blazers, the Suns, taking a break, then coming back to face the Seattle Supersonic, and then the Utah Jazz in back-to-back finals. While Jordan's finals have arguably been an easy path, the path to getting there have considerably been tough, as the Eastern Conference at that time was considered to be tougher than the Western Conference. And one must not forget how more physically demanding the league was during the 1990s era. LeBron James, while he had an easy course to the finals, had to deal with steeper challengers in the finals in the form of super teams being formed against the King, not to talk about being without help in his first finals with the Cavaliers in 2007, leading to him joining the Miami Heat in 2010. Though the King is the architect of super teams in the NBA, it must not go without saying that the trend has hampered the success in winning championships, a trend that was not present in Michael Jordan's era. And not to mention, LeBron had less help in his trip to the finals in most scenarios, playing without his two stars in 2015 NBA Finals in the form of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love. All in all, the GOAT debate is a pretty close one between the two legends. If you think Michael Jordan has the aura that made opponents afraid of him, we can't ignore the fact that LeBron had to face more competition with lesser help in the finals. It's also arguable that LeBron in his prime was a slightly better player than Michael Jordan, even though winning less trophies. Jordan does edge LeBron in the clutch category though, playing less years than LeBron and having just as much impact as the King in that aspect. One thing cannot be denied, both players are legends of the game, and without them, we probably wouldn't be talking about the game of basketball like we are today. I think that's all. We got more videos coming in we don't want to miss. Click the subscribe button and stay up to date with our future videos.